Hey guys, it's Godbars here, the self-proclaimed hip-hop historian, and today I wanted to try something a bit different by starting a new series where I share some of my favorite beats from select producers, starting with The Alchemist. Besides my recent Q&A video and the one where I shared some of my favorite verses, it's been a pretty long while since I broke from my regular format, and while I definitely have a tendency to start a series and leave it hanging a bit, I'm gonna try my best not to do that this time around and stay relatively consistent. Either way, even though I have done a few ranking and list videos in the past, this is the first time I'm actually gonna be using extended audio clips to give you at least an impression of each instrumental I'm discussing. So I really have no idea how that's gonna go in terms of YouTube copyright, which is why I'm gonna use relatively short snippets. I'm not gonna go into an entire background for this dude. I mean, you probably know who he is if you're watching a video of my favorite beats from him. But needless to say, Alchemist has one of the densest production discographies out there, which is why I have a number of honorable mentions I want to share before getting into the main 15. I tried to be as fair and diverse as possible, picking beats all the way from the late 90s and early 2000s up until the 2020s. And while at first I was attempting to only do one beat per artist, it quickly became apparent to me that that wasn't going to be possible. So I just did my best to keep it as spread out as possible, and at least not do multiple songs from one album. But of course, at the end of the day, this is all subjective, and it's just a list of my personal favorite beats that this legend has blessed us with over the years. So don't freak out if you don't see a super obvious classic pick like The Realist by Mobb Deep, because as timeless as that instrumental is, it just doesn't get lodged in my head the same way these ones do. But anyway, feel free to share any beats that you feel like I missed down in the comments below. And of course, I'll have all of the songs I'm discussing listed in the description, so if the snippets intrigue you, you can check them out more for yourself. And let's get right into the list. So kicking off this set of honorable mentions, which unlike the main 15, aren't in any particular order. First, I have one of the best beats that The Alchemist ever made for Nas, that being No Idea's original. Next, we have the legendary moment of Al's debut solo album, where he recruited all three of the members of the Lox for the legendary track The Essence. Then after that, I have the somber yet beautiful song Terry by Action Bronson. And then next up, we have a much more grimy track, that being Westside Gunns' Brossface Brippler.
It doesn't stop for him. Walks on it. Because he don't want you to know that you can walk on the water. Well, I'm gonna tell you right
now. One of the many more slept-on Alchemist beats comes in the form of the song War and Love by Stone's Throw staple MED. Of course, I had to mention at least one of the moments off of Covert Coop, the first collaborative full-length between Al and Currency, so I decided to go with the track 007. Winding back the clock a bit, even though Al produced a number of amazing tracks for the group Dilated Peoples, arguably their biggest moment came as a result of the timeless instrumental Alchemist made for the song Worst Comes to Worst. Going back even further, we have an artist I covered not too long ago on the page, that being Cormega. And the project of his I discussed just so happened to have one of Uncle Al's best ever remixes, which came for the song Fallen Soldiers. One of the most nostalgic Alchemist beats for me, just because I heard it all the time in high school, was the one he did for the song Red Dot Music by Mac Miller. In closing out this group of honorable mentions, I have the somber, yet beautifully kind of dark instrumental I don't really hear people bring up that often. That being Carruth, the opening track for the first project between Alchemist and Boldy James.
Why are those people crying? Is it for something they've lost? Why are those people crying?
Moving on to our main list, these ones actually are going to be ranked in order from least to most favorite. And starting at number 15, we have the epic lumbering beat that turned into the track Imperius Rex by the late legend Sean Price. At number 14, we get another track that's pretty underrated in my book, that being Arnold and Danny by Action Bronson. And not only do we get a killer verse from Alchemist on this thing, but it's also one of his more unique sample flips and has a really pleasant and smooth tone to it. For 13, while Al produced a number of killer tracks for the group's Swollen members over the years, especially earlier on in his career, my personal favorite moment in that department would have to be Bad Dreams. Next up at number 12, we have another Mobb Deep related endeavor, that being the song Grimy Way, which was a single by Big Noyd featuring Prodigy. And while it's relatively simple, it still checks all the boxes required for a perfect loop. For number 11, I'm moving the clock forward quite a bit. In fact, this might be the most recent moment to appear on this list, as I had to pick at least one of the beats from Haram, the amazing collab album between Armand Hammer and Alchemist. And while I think most people would probably pick Falling Out of the Sky, which is an instrumental I love, personally I went with the opening track, Sir Benny Miles, because the dark, lumbering, and off-kilter beat is one of the best tone setters I could think of in modern hip-hop. Next up, breaking into the top 10, at number 10, we have another instrumental created for Al's close collaborator and friend Evidence, who invited both Raekwon and Razkaz to spit grimy verses over this ridiculous sample flip, and the result would end up being The Red Carpet. Coming in at number 9, we have a beat that was originally created with Prodigy in mind, but after Pharoahe Monch asked if he could have it, which P agreed to, this cinematic instrumental became all his, which definitely wasn't a mistake, as Pharoahe really shows off his lyrical skills off the song No Mercy. For number 8, speaking of Prodigy, while most fans would probably opt to go with a moment like Keep It Thorough, frankly that isn't my favorite beat on HNIC, because that honor would have to go to the instrumental for the song 3. Following that, at number 7, we have the classic beat for the track The Microphone, which Al gave back to Slaughtahouse in 2009. But no matter how many years pass, it never gets old to freestyle to or use to test out a new verse. And next up at number 6, while it's up for debate whether you want to attribute the beat to Jadakiss and Styles P or Razkaz, either way, the result is still built on the legendary instrumental for We Gonna Make It. And now here we are at the top 5 and breaking into this upper echelon. We have one of the few collaborations between the Alchemist and Kendrick Lamar, a team-up which literally hasn't failed yet. Though I have to say Al really outdid himself here, because even though I adored this song pretty much from the day it dropped, it took me years to even realize that he produced it, mainly because it just doesn't really sound a lot like the rest of his production discography. And the flawless instrumental I'm referencing was for the standout track Fear. At the number 4 spot, I have my favorite beat that Alchemist ever made for Action Bronson. And while he made a lot of top-tier beats for him over the years, I think the cream of the crop would have to be the Hopeless Romantic. And finally, here we are at the top 3 for my favorite Alchemist instrumentals. We're taking the 3rd place spot. We have the time-tested duo of Uncle Al and Earl Sweatshirt, who, like the previous pick, may have dozens and dozens of killer tracks with Alchemist. But when it comes to the best instrumental he ever gave Earl, I think many would probably agree with me. You have to give the nod to E. Coli.
Is what I do. It's write the songs and sing them.
Therefore, it's all pure feeling. What we're playing is complete honesty.
Well, hard to say that if you can trace the origin of your fear, it will disappear.
Coming in at number 2, we have a beat that I love so much I've actually done a freestyle to it in the past on the channel. That being the legendary Mobb Deep track, Win or Lose, off the America's Nightmare album. And finally, closing out this list at the number 1 spot, we have what I've always kind of considered to be the prototypical Alchemist instrumental in the best way, because it just embodies and represents everything that makes his style so timeless and enamoring. And I'm talking about the classic single that Al produced and rapped on for his own solo debut, that being the iconic song Hold You Down, which once again featured Prodigy, as well as Nina Sky on the hook. And with that, we have now reached the end of this list, but feel free to recommend any other producers you'd like to see in this new series. And if you enjoyed, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what your ranking of the best Alchemist instrumentals would be, along with any legendary beats I may have missed. Don't forget to have a great day, and I'll see you next time, okay? All right.